Day 7. How to stay motivated for long-term learning, the secret to maintaining discipline. Motivation is easy to find at the beginning of a new goal, but staying motivated in the long run is much harder. Many students feel excited when they start studying for an exam, learning a new skill, or setting academic goals, but after a few weeks, that excitement fades. Distractions, self-doubt, and a lack of discipline make it easy to procrastinate and lose momentum. So how do high-achieving students stay consistent? The answer lies not just in motivation, but in building long-term discipline. In this video, we'll explore why motivation alone isn't enough, the key reasons why students lose motivation, and the best strategies to stay focused and disciplined for long-term learning success. 1. Why motivation alone isn't enough. Many students believe that motivation is the key to academic success. They wait for a surge of inspiration before they start studying, thinking that if they just feel motivated enough, they will be able to focus and be productive. However, the truth is that motivation is unreliable. Some days, you might feel excited and ready to study for hours, while on other days, you might struggle to focus for even 10 minutes. This inconsistency is why so many students start strong but fail to maintain momentum. The problem with relying on motivation is that it is temporary and emotion-driven. Motivation often comes from external factors, such as watching an inspiring video, seeing a high-achieving classmate, or feeling pressure before an exam. However, these external triggers are not always present, which means that your drive to study can disappear just as quickly as it appeared. If you only study when you feel like it, your progress will be inconsistent, and you may fall behind on your academic goals. High-achieving students understand that discipline is more important than motivation. Discipline means taking action even when you don't feel like it. It means showing up to study sessions even when you're tired, uninterested, or distracted. Instead of waiting for motivation to strike, disciplined students create routines and systems that make studying a habit rather than a choice. For example, think about brushing your teeth. You don't wait to feel motivated to do it, you just do it because it's part of your daily routine. Studying should be approached in the same way. When you build a habit of studying at a specific time each day, it becomes automatic. This removes the mental struggle of deciding whether or not to study, making it easier to stay consistent. This doesn't mean that motivation is useless. In fact, motivation is a great tool to get started, but it should not be the foundation of your study strategy. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going. The key to academic success is learning how to take action even when motivation is low. In the next section, we'll explore why motivation fades over time and what causes students to lose their drive to study. Understanding these factors will help you prevent motivation loss and build stronger study habits. Wer do wie lose Motivation over time? At the beginning of a new academic goal, motivation is usually high. You might feel excited about improving your grades, mastering a subject, or preparing for an important exam. However, after a few weeks, that initial excitement starts to fade, and studying becomes a struggle. Many students mistake this loss of motivation for laziness, but in reality, motivation naturally decreases over time due to deeper psychological and environmental factors. One of the biggest reasons students lose motivation is the lack of clear goals. When you don't have a specific and measurable target, studying feels directionless. For example, saying, "I want to improve in math" is too vague. It doesn't give you a way to track progress. Without a sense of accomplishment, it's easy to feel stuck and unmotivated. Setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, can help solve this problem. Instead of a vague goal, saying, "I will complete 5 algebra practice problems every day for a month," makes your progress more measurable, giving you a clear sense of achievement. Another common reason for losing motivation is the lack of immediate results. Many students expect quick progress, and when they don't see immediate improvement in their grades or understanding, they feel discouraged. However, learning is a long-term process. Similar to exercising, you don't see results after just 1 or 2 sessions. Instead of expecting instant success, focus on small wins like understanding a new concept, solving a problem faster than before, or remembering more information than you did last week. Keeping a study progress journal can also help track these small improvements, making learning feel more rewarding. Studying also becomes demotivating when it feels boring or too difficult. If a subject is too challenging, students often avoid it because they feel overwhelmed. Likewise, if a topic seems uninteresting, it's easy to get distracted and procrastinate. The best way to tackle this issue is to make learning more interactive. Instead of passively reading, try active recall by testing yourself, using flashcards, watching videos, or participating in study groups. Connecting the subject to real-life applications can also make it more engaging. When you understand how a topic is useful, it becomes more interesting and easier to retain. Another major cause of motivation loss is distractions and poor study habits. In today's digital world, constant phone notifications, social media, and online entertainment make it difficult to stay focused. Every time you get distracted, it takes extra effort to regain concentration, making studying feel frustrating. On top of that, students who lack a structured study plan often push tasks until later, leading to procrastination and last-minute stress. The solution is to create a distraction-free environment by putting your phone in another room, using website blockers, and following a structured study schedule. Techniques like the Pomodoro method, 25 minutes of studying followed by a 5-minute break, can help maintain focus without feeling overwhelmed. Losing motivation is a normal part of the learning process, but it doesn't mean you can't regain it. Understanding why motivation fades is the first step toward developing long-term discipline and effective study habits. In the next section, we'll explore practical strategies to stay motivated and build a study routine that keeps you productive even when motivation is low. How to stay motivated for long-term learning. Losing motivation is natural, but successful students know that the key to long-term success is not waiting for motivation to return. It's about building habits that keep you studying even when motivation is low. To stay consistent, you need to shift your focus from relying on temporary inspiration to developing discipline, creating structure, and using practical strategies to make studying easier and more rewarding. One of the most effective ways to maintain motivation is building a study routine. When studying becomes a habit, it feels less like a decision and more like an automatic part of your day. If you schedule a fixed study time, such as studying from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. every evening, your brain gets used to the routine, and it becomes easier to focus. To make this habit stick, start small. Commit to just 5 to 10 minutes of studying each day to build consistency. The 2-minute rule is a great technique. If a task feels overwhelming, start by committing to just 2 minutes. Most of the time, once you begin, you'll naturally continue studying longer. Another powerful technique to overcome procrastination is the 5-second rule. Whenever you catch yourself delaying a task, count down 5-4-3-2-1 and immediately start studying before your brain has time to resist.
This simple mental trick interrupts hesitation and forces you into action.
If you often struggle with getting started, this technique can help you push past the initial resistance and get into study mode more quickly. To stay motivated long-term, it's also important to reward yourself for studying. Our brains respond well to positive reinforcement, so linking study sessions with rewards can make learning more enjoyable. The rewards don't have to be big. They can be as simple as taking a short break, watching a YouTube video, eating a snack, or listening to your favorite music after completing a study goal. Gamifying your study sessions by tracking progress or setting small challenges can also make learning feel more engaging and satisfying. Another effective way to stay on track is surrounding yourself with a supportive study community. Studying alone can feel isolating, which makes it easier to lose motivation. High-achieving students often join study groups, find accountability partners, or participate in online study communities to stay engaged. Being around others who share the same academic goals creates a sense of accountability and makes studying feel less like a solitary struggle. Lastly, one of the best ways to sustain motivation is visualizing your future success. When you feel unmotivated, remind yourself why you're studying, whether it's to pass an important exam, get into your dream university, or build a successful career. Creating a vision board, writing a letter to your future self, or spending 1 minute each morning visualizing your goals can help reinforce your long-term motivation. When you have a strong why, it becomes easier to stay disciplined even when studying feels difficult. By developing these strategies, building study habits, using mental tricks like the 5-second rule, rewarding yourself, surrounding yourself with a strong study community, and keeping your long-term vision in mind, you can maintain consistent motivation and discipline for long-term academic success. In the next section, we'll discuss how to turn these strategies into lasting habits and maintain momentum over time. Building discipline, the key to long-term success. Motivation can get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. The most successful students don't wait until they feel like studying. They create routines and habits that make studying a natural part of their daily lives. To stay productive in the long run, you need to develop systems that make studying automatic, so even on days when motivation is low, you still get work done. One of the most effective ways to build discipline is creating a structured study plan. Without a clear plan, it's easy to waste time deciding what to do, which leads to procrastination. Instead, high-achieving students set specific study goals and stick to a consistent schedule. For example, instead of vaguely saying, "I'll study chemistry today," break it down into smaller, actionable tasks like, "I will review Chapter 5 and complete 10 practice problems." The more specific your plan, the easier it is to follow through. Another way to reinforce discipline is by tracking your progress. When you see measurable improvement, it becomes easier to stay motivated and maintain momentum. Using a habit tracker, study journal, or progress chart allows you to celebrate small wins and recognize your growth over time. Even on days when you don't feel like studying, looking at your progress can remind you how far you've come and encourage you to keep going. To strengthen self-discipline, it's also important to eliminate decision fatigue. This means reducing the number of unnecessary decisions you make each day so that your brain has more energy for studying. For example, successful students prepare their study materials the night before, set a fixed study time, and minimize distractions before they begin. The less effort it takes to start studying, the more likely you are to follow through. Another powerful way to maintain discipline is by holding yourself accountable. This can be done by joining a study group, setting deadlines, or asking a friend to check in on your progress. When you know that someone else is tracking your performance, you're more likely to stay committed. If you prefer independent study, you can also use self-imposed deadlines or challenges to keep yourself accountable. Finally, one of the best ways to build discipline is by embracing the mindset of doing it anyway. Many students wait until they feel motivated, but disciplined students understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. Even if you don't feel like studying, just start, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Often, once you begin, you'll find it easier to continue. This is how small efforts, repeated consistently, lead to long-term academic success. By following these principles, structuring your study plan, tracking progress, reducing decision fatigue, holding yourself accountable, and pushing through even when motivation is low, you can build unshakable discipline. In the final section, we'll wrap up with key takeaways and actionable steps to help you apply these strategies in your own studies.